Hi everyone, I'm Jana with the Mission Bend Library. Today I'm going to be giving a brief introduction to the Valueline database. This video will cover how to access Valueline and navigate through its interface. We'll also take a closer look at a specific company profile so that you can see the information Valueline makes available for each stock. Finally, we'll go over some additional resources should you want to learn more about Valueline. So what is Valueline? Valueline is an investment research company that collects data and analyzes the performance of a large number of stocks, mutual funds, and other financial options. Valueline is also well known for their publication, The Investment Survey, which you can access through the Valueline database. So to get started, you'll go to our website, www.fortbend.lib.tx.us, select Research, and then Digital Resources and Databases. From here, you can either go to the alphabetical listing of our databases and select V for Valueline, or we can go by subject, select Business, Finance, and Consumer Information, and we'll scroll down until you see the Valueline Research Center. At this point, if you're viewing from home, Valueline will prompt you to put in your library barcode number. Valueline opens to the dashboard, which is their term for the home page. At the top of the page are two search bars you can use to search either the Valueline website or to search for a specific company by name or ticker symbol. And these search options will appear at the top of the page regardless of which tab you may be under. So wherever you are in the Valueline database, you always have these quick search options. Returning to the dashboard, you'll see featured commentaries, which are usually the most recent market daily updates, and you'll also see quick links to different Valueline publications. So this is where you would be able to view the most recent issue of the Valueline Investment Survey. A quick word about the Investment Survey. It's published weekly, and each issue is made up of 3 parts. So you have the summary and index, selection and opinion, and the ratings and reports, which can be viewed by selecting the VLIS current issue. This is what Valueline really considers to be the heart of the investment survey. The ratings and reports gives you full-page reports on around 130 different stocks in over 6 different industries. So this is a list of the featured companies, or you can go to the ratings and reports cover page for a quick overview of all the companies and industries being covered in this current issue. So it looks as if this week's issue is covering companies in the recreation industry, the entertainment industry, the publishing industry, and so on. And of course, different stocks and industries are highlighted each week. So let's return to the list of this week's featured company. I do want to point out that anytime you see a list like this in Valueline, you can reorder it by any of the column headings. So Valueline defaults to organizing their lists by company name, but you could also sort them by ticker symbol, by stock price, by industry, and so on. So as I said, this is a list of companies highlighted in this week's investment survey. In a moment, we're going to look at how to view other research lists, but we're going to go ahead and select one of these companies so that you can see what a Valueline company profile looks like. So let's just select AMC Networks. At the very top of the page here, you can see a quick snapshot of how the stock is currently performing. This information is updated every 15 minutes or so. Moving down, you can see that Valueline assigns both a safety and a timeliness rank to each company, as well as giving additional information on how other companies in the industry are performing. You can always come down here and say Show, and Valueline will give you additional information about how they assign their safety and timeliness ranks and what those mean. Valueline also assigns a letter grade to each stock. And again, this grade is unique to Valueline, and you can always get more information about it by clicking Show Rating Definition. Scrolling down the page a little bit, you'll see that there's also commentary on AMC Industries. Not all stocks have a commentary, but since AMC was featured in this week's investment survey, there is an expert commentary, and it's a very recent one at that. Additionally, you'll see 3 to 5 year projections. Scrolling down, we'll see the company valuation, their earnings, and their sales, which can be viewed both quarterly and annually. You'll see information about their total return percent, their annual rates of change. You'll see different score ratings on the price stability of the stock, the price growth, the earnings predictability, and you can see additional information about each of these topics, as well as a rating definition. Value line will also show how the peers of this stock are performing. There's also an industry analysis on the entertainment industry. There's information on insider transactions and institutional ownership. And scrolling down even further, there's both a business overview, so you get a description of the business as well as the business history. Value line assigns a technical ranking, and there are additional PDF reports. So this is a tremendous amount of information. My main takeaway is that although it's a bunch of information, Value line does a very good job of arranging it in a way that's accessible and easy to understand. So that is what a Value line company profile looks like. Let's move on to the Browse Research tab, and you'll notice if we look up at the top that it already says we're on Browse Research, but anytime that you are looking at a particular company, Value line automatically shows you as being in research, but if you click on Browse Research, it'll take you to the research homepage. On the research homepage, you'll see both Value line featured lists and the coverage universe. The Value line featured lists will let you quickly look at companies whose timeliness rank has been updated recently or who have had a commentary recently added. You can also use their predefined screens to look at lists like best performing stocks or highest yielding stocks. In addition to the predefined screens, they also have industry screens, so you can quickly run a list of, say, all the auto parts companies that Value line has a profile on. In addition to the featured lists, you'll also see the coverage universe, which is just a quick way to see all the research that's available under the library subscription to Value line. So Library Elite will show you all the company information available to you. So this includes around 3,000 different stock profiles, and of course, as we saw earlier, you can sort this list by company name, ticker symbol, stock price, and so on. You can also look at a list of analyst-covered stocks, and this is going to be a list of stocks that have that professional commentary included in them. So this is a little bit of a shorter list, but still around 1,700 stocks that have that expert commentary. Our library subscription also includes a list of small and mid-cap featured companies, as well as the Dow 30. Let's move on to the Market tab. Under the Markets tab, this is where you're going to see different publications that include the daily market updates. You can also look at an economic calendar. There's additional featured commentaries and also industry analyses. Let's move on to the Find Ideas tab. The Find Ideas tab has a lot of different resources. You can see that there's a stock screener, model portfolios, a portfolio tracker, and much more. I want to focus for a moment on the model portfolios. Value line offers 4 different portfolios, and you can see that an overview is given for each one. So essentially, profile number 1 is for the more aggressive investor, profile number 2 is for a more moderate investor, profile 3 is for those focused on long-term gains, and profile 4 is for those interested in seeing a more immediate monetary return on their investments. So by selecting the profile that you think best fits your investment strategy, Value line will link you to the most current edition of the Investment Survey Selections and Opinions section. And the Selections and Opinions section every week takes each one of these model portfolios and kind of shows how they would be performing in the current market. And that really brings us full circle back to the dashboard. because once you've selected the best portfolio for you, you can use the dashboard quick links to come right here to selection and opinion, scroll down to your preferred portfolio, and read about its performance in the current market. So this has been a quick introduction to Valueline and how to navigate the Valueline interface. The final thing I'd like to cover is additional education, so learning more about Valueline. There's a lot of information available if you'd like to learn more, and Valueline has some excellent resources. So we're going to look just really quickly at 3 of these resources. We're going to look at the Valueline tool guides, the YouTube channel, and the Valueline University. So all of these are available under the Investment Education tab. So one of the first things you'll see under the Investment Education tab is this Tool Guides here on the right. The tool guides are a collection of PDFs, and you can see they cover everything from navigating Valueline to the Valueline investment survey, the small and mid-cap companies, and so on. There's just a tremendous amount available there. Also, you'll notice right here under Navigating Valueline this link to visit our YouTube channel. So we'll open that up. And Valueline's YouTube channel is wonderful. My favorite way to use it is to go to their playlists, and that's going to break all the videos they do down just into 3 categories. So you have Valueline Pro, instructional videos, and then their collection of one stock to buy right now videos. And so depending on what you're looking for, some really excellent resources here. The final thing I want to look at is the Valueline University. And so we can return to the Investment Education tab. And to get to Valueline University, you'll want to scroll through this carousel at the top. And you can see that Valueline University is one of the options. I like Valueline University because whereas the PDFs kind of guide you through navigating the Valueline interface, this is more of an introduction to investing and buying stocks. And so you can see it's broken up into investment basics, investment strategies, building a portfolio, and studying a stock. So, all in all, some really great informational resources regardless of what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me in this introduction to Valueline. Be sure to check out our other Valueline videos. Thank you.